Good morning. When you read something, you have to read it once, then you read it again, and then you read it again. You go, no, 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 that's what I thought it said. How can it say that? I've got one for you this morning that I think you'll like. Oh, by the way, please like, subscribe, and share. Share is the key bit. So, this was from a tweet from the Wee Isle Dairy, and they have said, and they've summed it up in the first 4 words, bizarre in the extreme. This will be a rare sight in the years ahead, milk in glass bottles. Now, at this point, I have to say milk in glass bottles took me straight back to my friend's mum who used to collect. Do you remember the ones where you used to get the adverts printed on the side? So she used to collect them and have them all on the top of her worktop, not her worktops, her kitchen cupboards. I can remember the Kellogg's one. There was the one with the big sunshine. Was that Ovaltine? I mean, she had all of them and she collected them. But milk in glass bottles or orange juice in glass bottles, used to get it on a Saturday morning in our house outside the door. Best thing ever. Anyway, milk in glass bottles will be a rare sight in the years ahead. The UK government, you know it's not going to be good, don't you? The UK government have decided to persuade all food and beverage producers to stop using glass and instead use either plastic or metal cans. Now, I thought, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I thought we didn't do plastic. I thought plastic was Satan's child. I thought that plastic was not our friend. We didn't do it. I mean, has Ed Miliband seen this? Plastics? So they've persuaded all beverage providers to use plastics. Or metal cans. The new EPR levy, which all producers must pay on their new packaging, amounts to 30% tax on glass on average, but close to 3% on plastic. Now you can see, particularly cash-strapped farmers, which are you going to go for? You've got no money anyway, so where do you go with this? Do you do 30% on glass or 3% on plastic? Of course you do 3% on plastic. Beer bottles are hurt worst of all and will simply disappear. Beer bottles are going to disappear. I mean, what? So because they're thicker glass, the EPR levy amounts to 50% tax on beer bottles. So beer in glass bottles will disappear in the next year or so. They're moving into aluminium cans, all because some idiots in Whitehall thought it would be a good idea to impose a levy of £240 for a tonne of any packaging that might end up as household waste. No allowance for the fact that glass is 10 times heavier than plastic. No allowance for the toxic impact of microplastics in the environment. No allowance for the fact that glass is inert and ultimately returns to being sand. No differentiation between bottles or packaging designed for single use versus reuse. Dreamt up when Conservatives were in power and brought into implementation by Labour in April 2025. It's an idiotic piece of legislation. So, for all of those of you who think that I'm permanently going on about how rubbish Labour are, and you think that I'm some raging Tory, there we go. Prime example of how they completely cocked that one up. And you'd have thought that Labour, given that they hate anything that the Tories did, would have turned around and gone, yeah, this is a crap idea just because they did it. So let's not do it. But farmers are being hammered from every which way and how. And now we're getting food production. So not just farmers, of course, beer producers. I mean, wine in plastic bottles? How is this going? Gin, spirits in plastic bottles? How's this going to move forwards? I thought we were moving away from plastic, but here we are moving to plastic because we're making it cheaper to use plastic and cans. I'd love to drink a pint of milk out of a can, said no one ever. So we're moving towards plastics and cans over glass bottles. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always room for moderation, isn't there? There's always room for both. There's always room for a bit of everything because we have to make it accessible for all because one size does not fit all. So 30% on 30% on glass and 3% on plastic is not making it accessible for all, is it? It's not taking into account small businesses. It's not taking into account the traditional heritage businesses. It's not taking into account anyone, is it? It's just going use plastic. Only I thought we didn't use plastic. And when we're talking about reducing single-use plastic waste in households, anyone? Am I missing something big here? So yeah, the Conservatives massively cocked that one up, in my humble opinion, and Labour continue to do so. Again, where they had an opportunity to say, that was a crap idea, don't do it, they've gone, oh yeah, we'll do that one as well, because we'll raise more money. Because effectively, that's what Rachel Reeves wants to do. She just wants to skim whatever she can off the top of anything she can, regardless of the consequences. And if she doesn't like something, she'll just kill it. I mean, she's like one of those Walt Disney characters, isn't she, that sort of walks around with the big head cover on that you're always scared of, like the witch. I mean, it was almost the Grim Reaper, but what was the one in Snow White, that nasty witch who was giving out the apples? That's what she's like. She's like a mean Disney character. Anyway, I've sort of slightly digressed. It must be the heat. Blame it on the heat.